Welcome back to another Spotlight recording with buyAUM. Today I'm joined by Ed Cofrancesco. Today I'm joined by Ed Cofrancesco from International Asset Advisory, or IAA. IAA boasts over $5.5 billion in AUM, 140 advisors nationwide. Ed, it's great to be with you here.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me here,
Yeah,
Andrew.
It's great. We're here in the home office, the headquarters in Orlando, Florida. Ed, I'd like to start by just saying you've got a very interesting background. You started on Wall Street with Lehman, you've grown up, now you're, a people's broker-dealer, a people's RIA. What took you from the throes of Wall Street to building a firm built for Main Street?
That's a great question, Andrew. Thank you. So again, I started off on Wall Street. I started at 16 years old. It's crazy. I have almost 50 years in this industry.
Wow.
And I was born on the wrong side of the tracks. I never finished college, but I've been blessed with a really high IQ. And I started off in real junior positions, working as basically a gopher in the equity arbitrage department of a firm called Shearson Hayden Stone. And most of the people who watch this probably have never heard of Shearson Hayden Stone, but our CEO at the time was Sandy Weil. He was a legend. He was on his way to becoming a legend then, and certainly did become a legend, and my boss answered to Sandy, and I got experience in just about everything you can do on Wall Street. So I've worked in operations, I've worked in trading, I've run trading desks, I've worked in administration, I've worked in middle office, I've worked for big international banks. By the late 80s, it was interesting what we were seeing on Wall Street. We were seeing greed and corruption. I mean, there's always a bit of greed in our industry, of course, but I've had the chance to meet Michael Lewis and sit down and talk with him. He wrote Liar's Poker as a tell-all, but somehow it became a how-to. It had the inverse effect that he expected. And I remember at the time that he wrote Liar's Poker, I had a couple of friends who were tangentially mentioned in that book, okay? And shortly after that book came out, before the movie came out, I had the opportunity to go to London to represent what was then the 7th largest bank in the world, the 4th largest bank in the United States, and run global custody administration for them in Europe for European big institutions. And our clients included, such small institutions as British Petroleum's pension fund, Stichting Shell Pensioenfonds. I'm trying to say that correctly in Dutch, but yes, the Dutch Shell conglomerate and their pension fund. And then this little bank in Stockholm called Sveriges Riksbank, which is the central bank of Sweden. And so those were my clients. And it was refreshing to be in London because in the early 90s, and I lived there in 90, 91, and 92, the greed and corruption that had so permeated Wall Street by the late 80s wasn't there. And then I came back home to find Wall Street had gotten even worse.
Yeah.
And I contemplated leaving the industry. And I left my job and I was trying to figure out what to do when a friend of mine said that Raymond James in St. Petersburg, Florida was looking for somebody. And I was like, Raymond James? The last time I had heard of Raymond James, they were about that big.
Yeah.
And then I started researching. We didn't have the internet back then, so we had to research in libraries and things. Yeah, I literally went to the libraries recently. I'm like, oh my God, they've exploded since the last time I've seen them. And I came down to St. Petersburg and I sat down with Tom James, who was the CEO. And it was so refreshing to see a CEO of a major firm like this with such high ethics. And I joined Raymond James. And I ran an international area for Raymond James for about 7 years. And it was amazing to see a retail firm caring about the end client that way. When the opportunity presented itself to me about 25 years ago, I was determined I was going to go my own way.
Okay.
I was going to either start or buy a small firm and build it in the way I wanted, to build a Main Street firm. Our 60-second elevator speech about who is IAA and what are we doing, we tell people all the time that we're not a Wall Street firm, we're a Main Street firm. We're not on the corner of Broad and Wall in Manhattan. We're everywhere else in the United States. We're in small towns, and we're in some big cities too, but we're mostly in small towns and suburban towns throughout the United States. And our advisors are salt-of-the-earth people who have salt-of-the-earth clients. And our job is to help our clients fund their children's education, fund their retirement, fund their grandchildren's education, and hopefully help them pass on as much wealth to future generations as possible. Our clients also include businesses that we help raise money for, and we have successfully, so that they can grow and create more jobs. It's our job to help our clients navigate that investment field without stepping on landmines.
Yeah.
And if we do those things I just mentioned, if we do that and we do that, well, we'll get paid handsomely. But the customer comes first, and it always has for us. And so that's very, very important to us. It's very important to us to build relationships and start with customers and turn them into clients and turn clients into advocates. And so as a firm, we look for advisors that are sick and tired of the big firm mentality. One of the other sayings we have at IAA, after we give you that little elevator speech I just gave you, is that bigger isn't better. Better is better. And that's what we really believe in. So today we have about 145 advisors. We've been over 200, and then we've shrunk down a little bit, and we'll grow again, but we always grow right. We don't grow just for the sake of growth. So then about 6-7 years ago, as I started approaching the big 60, I started thinking about succession planning and so forth. And of course, every big firm, every aggregator, every PE firm beat a path to my door.
Yeah.
We were in a lot better shape than a lot of my contemporaries. I was making a lot more money than a stupid kid from the streets of Brooklyn should have ever imagined that he would make. And so I didn't have to sell. So I had in my mind who my ideal partner and who that buyer would be, but I still met with everybody. Because if you're a serious business person, I'm going to sit down and listen to you. But I knew there was no deals to have with them, not at least the type of deals that I wanted, to have the succession planning, to have the continuity. So about 5 years ago, after blowing off so many of these companies, I was asked to describe my ideal buyer. And I said, my ideal buyer would be a family office. A family office that's first or second generation. I said, I don't want anything that's more than second generation, because we all know what happens when you get to third and fourth generation. The family's not involved, they're just collecting their checks, and you might as well be a PE company that owns you. We didn't want a partner that's looking for some big monetization event, because I didn't want that, I didn't need that. Then one day, my junior partner in the firm was on the board of directors of another company, and he met the head of a family office who was also on that board of directors. And I wanted somebody in a family office. And I said, I don't know if this unicorn exists, but I wanted somebody that was in financial services but wasn't in wealth management. But what they were in financial services was synergistic with wealth management, and that they had decided to get into wealth management, and we'd be their first strategic investment. Like I said, I didn't know if Goldilocks was out there. And then my partner comes back from his board meeting and says, Ed, I found your unicorn. I said, come on. And that's when we met our partners at Brown-Helm. And so we met Brown-Helm, and I met the CEO of the family office. And Brown-Helm is their principal business where they made their money is a firm called Equity Trust.
Yeah.
Equity Trust is the 800-pound gorilla in the self-directed IRA custodial space. Well, that is absolutely financial services.
Yeah.
So they support wealth management, but they don't provide wealth management.
Perfect.
Well, at this point in their family's history, the second generation, but I like to call them Gen 1.5 because of how the firm started, was now running the firm. But my partner grew up with his father growing the business, so he was going on the road all the time with his father. So technically not first generation, but really hard to say. And so we dated for about a year because I was going to be very, very cautious in who we partnered up with. And we share the same vision about family, the same vision about really taking care of the mass affluent portion of our society, helping people invest, the people, in Main Street America. That's how their firm was built.
Yeah. It brings up an interesting point of where is IAA headed? And I think I want to go back to how IAA makes acquisitions, what makes you unique, but you have a shared vision with Brown-Helm. Where is that currently leading you? Like, where is IAA headed in the next 10 years?
That's a great question. We have a lot of our own capabilities, but we're going to add to those capabilities because Brown-Helm was interested in a full wealth management suite of services. So while we're going to continue to use the custodial services of all the usual suspects, because we do, we'll also eventually develop our own custodial in-house. It won't be done at IAA. In our view, it's best to have a degree of separation, but eventually we will have a sister company that provides clearing and custodial services. So we'll be able to offer a platform of different custodial services from different custodians, but also have the ability to in-house it as well with a sister company where we'll always be the most important client.
That's great. So let's pivot ever so slightly to acquisitions. 145 current advisors on the team. You're in the market, there are people retiring every day, hitting that big 60, the 65, the 70. What makes a good acquisition in your mind to IAA?
Again, we always like to focus on the underserved because we love that. So a lot of firms won't look at acquisitions of $20 million. They won't get out of bed for less than $100 million. They're focusing on acquiring advisors that have 100, 200, 500, $2 billion breakaway teams. And not that we won't take them, but we're not going to get in bidding wars with these PE companies or these aggregators. It's just not how we are, and it's not the game we want to play. We love guys that have 20 million, 30 million, 50 million. If you ask me, our sweet spot of advisors is 20 million to 100 million. Do we have guys that have 100, 150, a couple of guys over 200 million with us? Sure. But we're into building relationships. We love those 20, 30, 40, 50 million dollar guys because you know what? They tend to have very few clients and a lot of advocates. And they tend to have even fewer customers. And that's how we look at the world. We look at the world as customers, clients, advocates.
I love that. That's a really simple way to do it. What makes maybe how you structure or what makes your acquisition kind of thesis unique? Obviously, you're going after the lower market. Are there any other parameters that maybe are being overlooked or makes IAA from an acquisition standpoint have a unique structure?
Well, I think that one of the things is we're willing to put our money where our mouth is. And so if you have somebody that's thinking about succession and they're thinking about selling and being an acquisition, but they're not yet ready to hang it up, because I get it. This is we're blessed. We're in an industry that if your wits are about you, you can do this until it's time to leave this planet. We have had advisors with us. I think the oldest advisor we ever had was 92 or 93 years old. And we have plenty of advisors that are 70 or older. Say that I'm going to be 64 this year. I'd say that I am right at our average age of advisor in our firm. But if we have people that are thinking about retiring, we're ready to buy a piece of their book right now. While we want to grow smartly. And it's not like we're looking to be the next LPL or next Raymond James. 10 years from now, this firm won't have 10 or 15 or 20,000 advisors. In the next 5 to 10 years, will we have 2,000 advisors? Yeah, hopefully. That's our plan. But we never want a firm so big that the advisors won't have the CEO's personal cell phone number. I myself, all these years I've been running the firm, I have one cell phone number. If you're a friend of mine, if you're a family member, if you're a member of our HOA, because I'm president of my HOA, all the years I ran youth sports here in Orlando, everybody still has that same phone number. It's the same phone number, all our advisors. The only thing I've ever asked our advisors is, you know what? Don't call me about after 4 or 5 o'clock on a Sunday. I'm going to sit down, have dinner, and the rest of that night it's going to be family time. You want to call me on Saturday? Have at it. You want to call me at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday evening? That's fine. 10:30, I usually put my phone on Do Not Disturb because I'm going to go to bed at 11. But other than that, that's always going to be our modus operandi here, that we're always going to be available. That you're not only going to be able to have direct access to the CEO, but the entire C-suite here. Because you are our partners. That's what's important to us, that you really feel that family atmosphere.
What are the components that make an acquisition a great deal from both parties? And then what do you hope a seller feels in choosing IAA?
What makes a good acquisition is a good cultural fit. I think the vast majority, especially of advisors in that $20 million to $100 million range, really do have clients and advocates as the vast majority of their client base, of their book, as we call it, right? Their practice. And so that they really care. They have a real emotional tie to their clients. They really care about them. I'm not saying there aren't people with 200 and 300 and $1 billion practices that don't care about their clients, but these guys have kept it intimate. They've kept it manageable in terms of the amount of relationships. And I don't think they want to ride off into the sunset thinking that they've sold their clients down the river. They want to take care of them. They feel like they've taken care of them throughout their careers, and they want to make sure somebody else is going to follow suit. Those are the type of advisors that fit well with us, because that's how we feel about our advisors. That's why I'm so adamant always talking about succession planning and telling all our advisors, listen, we'll pair you up. And if you can't find somebody you like, know that we'll always be the buyer of last resort. We're not going to let your estate get screwed. We're going to be there for you. We're going to be there for you. We're going to be there for your heirs. Well, if you have those type of advisors, then they want a firm that feels that same way.
Sure.
That's a good cultural fit. They want somebody to say, listen, I'm going to get paid fair. We're going to get a fair price for my firm. I may not get the highest price for my firm, but I don't care. It's sort of like when I found my partner. Rest assured, I could have gotten more money, but that wasn't important to me.
Yeah.
What was important to me was that all my home office staff was going to have continuing jobs for the foreseeable future. That I wasn't going to have someone go through our advisor list and say, oh, this guy's too small, or this guy's decent size, but he had some minor ding 10 years ago and we just don't want him on our roster anymore. No, all our advisors are people that I shook hands with, that I promised them that as long as they were honest and fair with us, we would always be honest and fair with them, and we would take care of them. And we weren't going to have them just be jettisoned, because we know how that upsetting it is to an advisor's business. And as part of this, there's a date that Ed steps down as CEO, and you'll meet my replacement. He's going to be coming on and talking to Andrew in a little bit. But we already have this set years ahead of time. I'm stepping down in just over 2 years on my 66th birthday. That was by my design. I didn't want to be CEO anymore. Once I said, I'll do it through 65, but at 66, I'm done. But here I am. My partners don't want me to leave. Yeah. They don't want me to stay on as CEO because they know that's not my desire. And we have a great protege of mine that'll be stepping into that role.
What does legacy mean to you?
Legacies means everything to us. It means everything to me. It means everything to my partners. It is what we're built on. I could have sold for higher amounts of money to PE firms, to aggregators. I didn't. Here we are 3 years later. I'm sure the viewers of this understand. I could sell my firm today for at least 50%, if not 100% more than I did. If you think that would cause a regret, guess what? I tell people all the time, still no regrets about even that, because I know that I have the right partners to continue my legacy. I've seen it now for the last 3 years. I've seen it in how we've organized who my replacement's going to be. I've seen it by the types of people that we continue to bring in, that we continue to associate with, because it was all about legacy for me, okay? So the proof is in the pudding, as you like to say. I'm a seller, I sold, but I'm still involved, and I will be for at least 2.5 more years, maybe a lot more than that. That's what we're about. That's the type of seller we're looking for, a seller that wants to maintain their legacy, because that's what we're about. It's all about legacy. Bigger isn't better, better is better.
It's terrific. Ed, thank you so much for joining me. This
Thank
is
you.
Terrific. Now I'm joined with Ann Moore from IAA. She's the Chief Business Development Officer for the team. Ann, thanks for joining us.
Sure.
Tell us about the advisors that IAA serves. Who are they? Where do they operate? What's the similarity between them?
Sure. So we are a firm that offers services for independent financial advisors. So advisors that don't want to go out and start their own RIA, don't want to deal with the back office, deal with the contracting, deal with the regulators, and want a strong firm where they can also be independent in their own sleeve. Our advisors are all over the country. I would say that they serve the mass affluent and Main Street American mom and pop businesses, families, just your everyday Americans that are trying to save for retirement, save to fund children and grandchildren's education, and to leave a legacy for their community.
Yeah, I think that's great. When you think about what makes IAA unique, there's a lot of different aggregators out there. A lot of different people looking to make acquisitions. What is a way that makes IAA unique in how it makes acquisitions or structures them, or really the market that they go after?
So IAA still, even though we do have capital behind us and we have an owner that's a trust company, we still consider ourselves a boutique firm. Small is important. Bigger is not better. Better is better. We have relationships with our advisors. We're friends with our advisors. They're part of our family. So we consider ourselves not a wirehouse or a big firm where the C-suite, the most important thing is the C-suite. The most important thing to us is the client. And of the $5 billion of assets that we have under management. Myself, the other owners and managers of the firm maybe are responsible for 10 million of that. So our client is the financial advisor. It's not the end client who has their assets within our RIA and our broker-dealer. Our clients are the financial advisors, and we treat them and hold them out as our clients. So I think that's what makes us different from a wirehouse. If a financial advisor needs to get a hold of, he doesn't have to call back office. He can call me, he can call my cell, he can call the owner, he can call Ed and call Ed's cell. We're available for our advisors, and if I can't or if one of the other management team can't answer the questions, we get back to them. We find an answer and get back to them. We're accessible, we're available, and still really I would consider us more of a boutique firm. That's what we offer to our clients.
I think that's very unique, and it's more and more rare as aggregation happens and consolidation happens. We work with a lot of advisors that are at some of the large firms, and service, I'm one of 1,000 people assigned to a service rep, and so I think the accessibility is a very unique piece of IAA.
Sure.
Yeah. There are a lot of different ways to make an acquisition. What are some of the key aspects of an advisor's practice that you're looking to acquire, or the way that you would structure the deal? What in your mind are some of the key attributes of it, and how would you hope that a seller or a sunsetter feels after selling or joining IAA?
Sure. Succession is really a big part of our industry. As everybody knows, the financial, with AI and how the world and technology is moving, financial industry is changing as well. We feel that the financial industry is really moving towards more of a concierge service, providing full service for their financial clients. And in a succession plan we really are looking for financial advisors that have a legacy, who care that their end client doesn't go into a call center and not be able to have what they had before. An advisor spent their whole entire life building up the business, and I would say the advisors that fit well into our model are friends of their clients. They've been there helping them with most important decisions in their life: college educations, purchasing homes, purchasing big ticket items, and saving for retirement, and ultimately saving for a legacy and generational wealth. It is important to us to let any advisors that we bring on know that we're going to match their clients into our system with maybe younger advisors. We're not going to end this when myself or Ed pass the torch on to the younger staff and the younger managers. We have younger advisors, and this is another area that we can help our younger advisors and attract more younger advisors by offering succession within that. And so we are looking for advisors that are towards the end of their career, but want that family-oriented boutique service to still be able to offer to their clients after they move on to what they're going to do in their retirement.
There's a lot of advisors, or really just business owners, that regret selling a year later, and it's usually not financial. What do you hope that a seller or someone that joins IAA feels a year later?
That they made the right choice, and that they believe their clients are in the right hands. And if they made the choice that they want to stay for a bit and maybe mentor or be a part of our network, that they chose that and they were able to bring something to the firm, the new firm that their clients have gone to, that still has a connection to them. So we want them to still feel that they're connected, whether they stay for a while or whether they're ready to go and they're off traveling and they're just sending us pictures from their travels.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You mentioned legacy, and I think legacy can be a very fluffy word, but no one wants to build a village, get paid to walk away, and watch it get set on fire as they leave. The nature of an acquisition is you're taking the torch on from someone. How do you think about legacy and the stepping into the relationship that someone's built for 30 years?
So it's important to make sure that what they want and what they've built is the same as what we want, what we've built, and what the advisor that will match them to wants and has built. In an ever-moving technology where the world is moving, we really want to be able to let advisors know that we will stay on top of technology, we'll stay on top of the financial markets, but we'll also stay on top of our relationship with their client and their heirs and their family as well. So that's really important to us. And that would be the legacy that is knowing the hows and whys of why is a client saving their money? What are they going to need it for? What are they going to use it for? And a lot of times clients, I don't think they know it, but they maybe haven't identified it. And I think our advisors are good at helping them identify it, putting it down on paper, or putting it, into a security vault so that they can execute and make a plan and execute on that legacy.
So where is IAA headed? It's been around for 20 years. You guys have grown substantially. 145 advisors, $5.5 billion in AUM. What's on the horizon for IAA?
Well, it's actually been around for 40 years. So I think we're at 44 years. So our motto for our conference this year is being strong for 44 years and where we go from here. I think IAA is, moving along to stay relevant in the financial world. I think a lot of changes are coming. And I think staying on top of that and moving in the direction that will help our clients keep their wealth and continue to have generational wealth and to make plans for their financial futures that work for them. I see us continuing to be more of a boutique firm. That's kind of a lost presence. And I think that if you really look at the masses out there, they want that boutique feel. Yeah. They want to be able to feel like that they're an important piece in a small business.
That's great. I think you're spot on. Everyone appreciates good customer service, whether you're calling Capital One or American Express or Delta. It's when you don't have it, it is the worst in the world, and when you have it, it's great. From an ideal transition plan or structure, is there an ideal path with IAA, or is it kind of an open book?
I mean, the ideal meaning that it's ideal for the parties involved, but I would say we're more of an open book. One of the strengths I think that I have in the firm is to be able to, I can see lots of different possibilities, lots of different solutions. There's really no right or wrong. It's a person's definition of right or wrong. I'm good about looking at the definitions and what goals people have, and then putting together some solutions that help them with their goals. So it's always a fluid, ongoing, staying on top of different paths that we can take to make a transition or a succession plan work for everybody that's involved.
I think that's perfect. Who is the ideal? I mean, there's a lot of different types of advisors out there. There's the stock picking gunslingers, there's the mutual funds and the set it and forget it, the Buffett style. Maybe what's the makeup of IAA's culture and team and advisors today? And then who do you think would find this as a new home?
We started as a firm where we did have a lot of stock advisors that pick stocks. And as a management team, we could see that the industry was moving towards more fee-based. Very successfully, we were able to help our advisors transition into that fee model. It makes their books worth more when they can sell a fee-based over a stock-picking practice. So I would say really the majority of our advisors now are the portfolio manager on their book of business. Okay. We also see, especially with AI, that it's moving now more towards having a CIO and having some models that are managed, freeing up the advisor's time to really work with the concierge side of the business. Clients with AI, they're going to probably be able to go to ChatGPT and get a portfolio. But are they going to be able to go to ChatGPT and get services, really concierge services on setting up their legacy and their generational wealth and their family wealth? We don't see the financial advisor dying. We just see him moving more into a really strong relationship with his clients and their families and helping them with their legacy and managing their wealth.
I would agree with that. It's less of an order taker or an idea man and more of a male or female that is my steward, and it's my partner, it's my shepherd really as I build my family and my wealth. I think that's terrific. Managing acquisitions and onboarding of new relationships, it's a single advisor, maybe has 50 or 100 households. How do you ensure a smooth onboarding transition?
Sure. So we have technology for that. We use DocuSign and DocuPace. I have great staff here in the office that are very personable. They've been transitioning for a long time. They're really good at sitting down with an advisor and kind of figuring out what their style is. Some advisors don't want to have anything to do with the paperwork. They just want to talk to the clients. Some advisors really want to be involved in the paperwork and maybe want our side to go to clients to get other documents that they might need or to answer questions. So every advisor is a little bit different on how they want to structure a transition, and we're good about listening to them, good about being on top of what they need, and really our transitions are fairly seamless. I mean, if you're going from the same custodian to the same custodian, it makes it a little easier, but we offer different custodial choices, and we'll do what we need to get that transition done in the most seamless way. And a lot of times that's just really good communication between our transition team, the client, and the advisor. So we are good about picking the phone up, not relying on emails, and getting what we need in. We're not going to let people that are going to Schwab, maybe we get an email that this is rejected or is that rejected. We don't email back. We get on the phone and make sure that, hey, what is it that you really need? What can we do to get this transaction processed in a timely way for the client?
I love that. It's white glove service from the top down.
Right.
Excellent. Well, Ann, this has been terrific. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be in Orlando with you.
All right.
Thank you. And now I'm joined with Matt Lampman, the current president of IAA and the heir apparent to Ed. Matt, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Matt, as the current president of IAA, an organization with 145 advisors, a big staff, $5.5 billion under management, how do you think about the clients that you serve, what you want them to kind of take away from interacting with the home office?
So my goal is always to make sure that our advisors know that we care. We like to picture ourselves as a family here. Most of our advisors have been with us for a long time. We have very little attrition, and that's something that we're proud of. We want them to feel our culture. We want them to feel the family atmosphere and know that our goal is to always help their business. We want to do everything we can to accommodate them or to find a way to get something done.
I think that's great. I'm also curious, Ed was telling us that you've been with the firm 12 to 14 years. Where did you start? Were you started in the mailroom and worked your way up? What's the journey
Essentially, yeah. So I started at the firm in 2012 as an unpaid intern. And then, shortly after, I started in the ops department as a full-time employee. And 14 years later, I'm the president of the company. I've held various roles across the firm, and I've seen a lot of different things and seen the firm grow a lot over those years.
I love it. It reminds me of Disney, and they force every CEO to have a day in the goofy suit.
Yeah.
You got to feel every aspect of the business.
Yeah, that's essentially what I did. Yeah.
That's excellent. Culture is a word that gets thrown around a lot. Maybe not necessarily with the home office, but from the advisor standpoint, the 145 advisors, we're talking about acquisitions and succession. What is the culture of the firm and the advisors here?
The culture, I think, is that we're family. Many of our advisors have come from larger firms where they got kicked around or didn't get good service or kind of got abandoned if something went sideways. When you come to a smaller firm like this where you have direct contact with management, you can have direct contact with the CEO, you understand that we're here to help you. It's not just a numbers game here. We want them to feel comfortable. We want them to feel like they're a fit.
That's great. There are a lot of firms making acquisitions and acquiring and aggregating assets as financial advisors retire, right? The next 10 years, it's 1 out of every 2 advisors is going to transition out. What makes IAA unique from an acquisition standpoint?
I would say that we make a very strong effort to find a good match for a practice that we would acquire. We look at all of our advisors across the country and see if there's someone that we can match them up with that, is similar in philosophy, similar in their investment process, and just to make sure that it's a fit. We want anybody selling to us to be comfortable because obviously, they need to aid in that transition. And if they're not comfortable with us, it's never going to be successful.
That's great. Along the lines of an acquisition, what are some of the key components that make it a strong acquisition in your mind?
The seller needs to feel comfortable with us. I think that's number one. And we have to have a good plan for who this business will transition to. Like I said, we try to match a seller up with one of our advisors across the country. If it's geography, if it's just an investment thesis, whatever the sticking point is for the seller, we try to find the best solution there.
Keys to a strong acquisition. There's fit. What else is,
So business mix. We certainly want to make sure that it's a business that we support or can support. We do like to pride ourselves on being able to find a solution for a business that maybe a lot of other firms would turn away from. We want to be able to make sure that we can do it with efficiencies, right?
What are the different components of IAA's business? Is it just advisory? Is it brokerage business?
Well, for a firm our size, we cover a lot of different business lines. The majority of our business is advisory now, like the rest of the industry, I think. We still have a decent amount of brokerage business that's mostly through variable annuities. We do a lot of fixed insurance, fixed index annuities, financial planning, cover a lot of different areas.
Yeah, great. One of the biggest hurdles in an acquisition is onboarding and paperwork and transitioning my book of business and how things are being done to a new acquirer. I know I need to do it. If I get hit by a bus, I don't have a plan, but that is a big hurdle. How does IAA handle, attack, or view onboarding of a transition?
We have a dedicated onboarding team for that specific reason. And we do this all the time when we're recruiting new advisors. And this wouldn't be any different. Our onboarding team will assist in all the paperwork completion. We'll reach out to the clients if needed. We leverage a lot of technology to get paperwork pre-filled. And obviously e-signature is a big thing. But the main goal when we hire an advisor or buy a practice, the main goal that we concentrate on is moving the business over. That's first and foremost. Obviously that team will also assist advisors in training for whatever platforms that they're using, but there's a dedicated team to help transition that book.
Where is IAA headed? The torch is coming to you. Where's the future of this firm?
Yeah, well, so the firm was acquired in 2023 by a family office out of Cleveland, Ohio, and they've been incredible partners for us, and they provide us the backing and support to really grow the business over the next few years. We have an incredible culture here, thanks to Ed Cofrancesco, and I think anybody that you talk to that knows him would be able to explain to you the impact that he's had on this firm. And that's through the home office, that's the advisors. He's really set the tone, and the goal is to carry that out over the next 10 years or 15 or 20 and continue what we've been doing. With the backing that we have now, we have a better chance to grow the business through acquisitions or through recruiting, but we see a lot of growth in the future with our partnership.
That's great. So Ed is a high-spirited, he is a punch-in-the-face kind of personality, and he's in all the best ways. What are some of the ways that he's imprinted how to run a business, whether it's, virtues or characteristics or just kind of jovialness? Like, how has he imprinted Matt to run IAA?
Well, Ed will tell you that he's raised me since I was a pup. I came in as an intern 14 years ago, and he's been an incredible mentor to me and many other people as well. He has counseled me countless times and how he would handle certain situations. He's been an incredible impact on me.
I love that. That's excellent. One last one. Matt, in an acquisition, the biggest and most important thing an advisor does not want is to, as he walks away from the village that he's built, watch it get set on fire. The core of that is legacy. And in an acquisition, by the nature of an acquisition, you're stepping into the legacy that someone else has put their blood, sweat, and tears into. What does that mean for you? How does that impact you? Where do you view legacy?
Well, we certainly respect that. An advisor is selling his practice, but it's not just a book of business. It's what he's built. It's what he's done for a living. So there's always going to be an emotional attachment to that, and we certainly respect that. And that's another reason why it's so important to us to find the right fit as a firm and the right fit for the advisor that will take over that book. We want a seller to be comfortable with what they're doing. We don't want them to be nervous about, maybe I didn't pick the right firm.
That's great.